Hard work is so overrated, and I want to establish this right off the bat. I'm gonna give you a bunch of stuff, a bunch of lessons that I've learned overall past few weeks, and overall just stuff that you need to know on your journey towards success. And I'm gonna specialize in money, relationships, and fame for the most part, and looks maxing. To do the looks maxing thing, it's really just a game of getting lean. Whoever's leaner usually tends to win. Even if you don't have like the best ratios on your face or whatever, if you get really lean, like just leaner than almost everybody, chances are you're gonna look the best. Like the main difference between like a mid tier normie and a high tier normie, a lot of the time it's just like one of them is like 10% body fat less than the other guy. And like most people are actually like 20% body fat, and like 20% body fat doesn't even look that bad, dude. Like most people who are at 20% body fat, they really don't look bad. They actually look like they're in shape a lot of the time because it might like be proportional, or they might, just throw a lot of it in their legs or whatever, and you won't think that they're that big. But once they get down to 10%, like nobody's 10%, dude. 10% is very difficult. And if you get to that point, which just requires a lot of hard work, it's one of the hardest things to do out of everything I'm going to tell you in a second, which is pretty surprising. Like making money, I would say, is easier, to be honest. Um, yeah, I would say the only way to do it is just, like you need to be in an environment where there's like not much food and you're mainly eating protein. That's really the cheat code. And obviously where you could maybe have like a few dumbbells or some shit. But if you're in an environment where you literally don't have much access to all these like fucking junk food like cookies or pizza or whatever, maybe you're on vacation, maybe you go to some, I don't know, you go travel somewhere, you live by yourself or you live with like a friend or whatever, and you guys don't really like go out to eat that much, and you're saving a bunch of money, dude. Yeah, I mean like it's gonna be hard to get fat like that. But if you're with your family or with your friends, you're always going out to eat whatever, boom, then you get fucked and you become a fat ass, and then you look worse, and then you're not gonna look good. It's really just a game of who's leaner, who's got whiter teeth, who's got a better haircut, making your eyebrows darker, and showcasing your best positive feature, right? So if you have a good jaw, make sure you showcase that. Make sure you get a haircut, which really showcases that. If you have a good eye area, make sure you accentuate that. Don't wear glasses. I don't know, just make sure you accentuate it. Maybe find a way to like make that the primary aspect of your face. If you have a good forehead, show that shit. Show your strengths and mitigate your weaknesses pretty much. And obviously get clear skin. Clear skin is huge. It's almost as important as getting lean. So you use Accutane low dose, or you could use like Tazarotene, or what is it called? Whatever, doesn't matter. Tretinoin moisturizer, and then SPF 50. That's pretty much it. And then getting super tan is also great, right? Getting super tan always looks better. Look at Brad Pitt in the movies. Look at any actor. It's like a free plus 1.5 points easy in your looks. That's it. If you're worrying about the fucking ratios 24/7, just really autistic. Yep. So that's number one done. We'll do this in order, right? Because I said looks, I said money, I said relationships, and I said like fame slash status. I would say more like I'm yeah, okay, that's like basically the same shit, but fame is more, it's like a bit different. Okay, anyway, out of all these, like the one that you need, like in order, you need money. Because money's gonna buy you the skincare shit for looks. Money's gonna give you leverage. Money's gonna get your foot in the door. Money's going to protect your family. Money's going to allow you to not have to worry about the fucking bill. Money's going to not make you not have to worry about rent. Money's going to make you have a great property at an early age. You could go out and eat higher quality foods, raw milk, eggs, all this shit. Money's going to be the fucking main thing that you got to worry about. And I got it like inversely. Like when I was like fucking 18, I was like walking on the treadmill all day, going to the gym 24/7, which was so stupid because you could always get jacked. Getting jacked is not hard. If you have enough money, you could just hire a personal trainer to fucking help you, right? And really keep you accountable. Money is by far the number one thing that's the most important out of all these four. And if you could not have any of it, I would say out of all of them, the money would be the most important, with like the looks being the second most important. Because if you have those two, then the other two seem to follow. In order to get money, I'm not gonna put you on my method, because like my exact method. I'll give you the path, but I'm not gonna tell you what I'm doing because I don't want to saturate the market for myself. But there's a few principles I want to talk about. There's Okay, so like number one, you want to get into e-commerce. I say this all the time. But number two, like there's so many people online, like the Andrew Tate guys and the self-improvement guys, and they always preach like you need to work hard. I hear that all the time. You got to work hard. You got to grind on your at your desk. You have to like work like 8 hours a day to really escape like the matrix and all this shit. And that's just like completely ridiculous. The way you make money is leverage and also knowing what to do or copying someone else and doing it just a bit better. Now, it's still going to require some work, right? I did put in like some hard work in the beginning. I was working like 3 jobs at one point. You're going to be like, oh shit, like 3 jobs is a lot. It was like that's what got my foot in the door. Because like, let's say you start from nothing, right? I started working for this company, and then I had a friend who was working for this company, and I had a bit of experience. So I said, hey, can you please hook me up with this job? That job didn't pay much. It was like 4K a month or anything, something like that, which might sound like a lot for some people, but it's not much. And then while I was there, I learned so much shit rapidly. It was like an extreme strain on my brain because I was going through breakup. I was in school. I was working 2 jobs plus, a bunch of other shit. And like my mind was like so congested, but I just had to realize, okay, whether I get fired or not, I'm just gonna throw myself into the fucking pit. It was really, really stressful. It was a remote job. And I just did a bunch of shit. I learned everything about like marketing and advertising and Facebook ads. I learned stuff rapidly. I was a sponge. And once I understood those basics, then I could actually like use the language necessary for me to get into a different job, because the other job will realize, okay, this guy has some experience, and like it's an unconscious thing that people can predict, like how scared you get before you talk to people over the phone, or like with the words you use, the terminology that you use, like ad spend, I don't know, return, like ROAS, I don't know, payment processors, Stripe, click-through rate, conversion rate, all this shit, right? Like just being able to use the jargon is what gets you into the door, right? So then once I got that job, I met these other guys, and these other guys were doing something really, really intelligent. And you slip through the cracks, and you work hard in the beginning, but then you eventually find like some kind of loophole while doing this, some kind of like arbitrage opportunity that you need to capitalize on, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. And then the pieces start coming together, and then you realize, oh, I could just do this instead of working super hard. It's basically like a cheat code, right? I'm like not explaining it super well, but to put this analogy in, like for school, right? There's a guy who studied his absolute ass off for the exam. He studied for like 2, 3 days straight. He has like, who knows? He wastes his time. He got a tutor and he aced the exam. When there's a guy right next to him who could sit right next to him and then just cheat on the exam and take all of his answers. And people will say that, oh, but that's not moral, whatever. That's not noble. Bruh, nothing in this world is noble. Your ancestors used to friggin' kill and torture villages to keep you alive right now, and you're scared to cheat on an exam. Anyway, like that, just you need to put it into perspective, and no one's gonna come to save you. You need to use every resource that you have, right? You're in an animal kingdom. Remember that. So, like, like for example, like for what I'm saying, that guy may have worked hard. He worked really, really hard, but then there's a guy who just had leverage, who sat next to the guy, who's best friends with the guy. If you're best friends with the guy and you start a business with him, it could be the same kind of thing. Or if you know the insides of another business and then you run something similar, boom, that's a shortcut. You don't need to like stress your brain out because you already have all the answers, right? And this goes with everything. This goes with like trading, right? You might know like the people behind like a coin, and you might have insider information which will guarantee you money. There's arbitrage and like sports betting, I know that. There's like, you might have a best friend who trades, and then you could copy all of his trades because he already has a trading bot, right? There's stuff like this, and you only fully understand it once you jump in, and that does require hard work, but you need to understand the niche. You need to understand the game, because there's like in school, right? There's a bunch of different classes that you could take. There's math classes, biology, there's English, right? If you don't know what you don't know, like it's one thing to be in the class but then not know the answers to the exam, versus you don't even know what class you're in, right? And if you're in e-commerce but you don't know, like, okay, I just want to get into e-com, then you just, I don't know, start drop shipping like a fucking air conditioner. It's never gonna work. Like maybe it could work, I don't know, but like that's not the proper way. Like you need to do MRR. If you don't even know what that word means, it's not good. If you need to like you need to realize like, hey, like let me add like subscript like obviously like VIP memberships shit. You need to learn about Shopify payments, need to learn about creative strategy, hire creative strategists, all this kind of stuff. And if these things don't make sense to you, like you don't know the game that you're playing yet. And you need to understand the game really, really fast. And the people who are the fastest are the ones who win, not the ones who are the smartest, the ones who are the fastest. And that's a brutal truth I had to understand early. But anyway, once you understand like the method, there's gonna be some kind of loophole in any industry that you're in that's gonna make you a lot of money if you like slip through all the cracks and you realize it. And you also need to make sure that the river that you're rowing in is the right river, right? Because let's say you get into, I don't know, software engineering, and there's a huge ceiling for software engineering, right? Like you can make like $1 million a year or whatever. But like I've seen a lot of guys who are dumber than the people who are in software engineering who work in e-commerce and then they make a lot more money than them and they're not much less intelligent, right? So you obviously want to choose the model that requires the least amount of stress in your mind, the least amount of resistance, and also like the least amount of like intelligence necessary, right? While also you actually having potential for you to make it to the top, right? Because usually if there's a low barrier to entry, there's a lot of competition. But then it's kind of like easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing. But then like getting it to the top, it's you need to okay, I'm butchering what I'm saying right now. You need to choose. It's like you when you play a video game, right? You need to choose the right video game to play because there's some video games you're just not going to be good at. Like if I play like some dumbass shit like Dota 2 or whatever, I'm not going to be good at it because it's just not in my brain. Of course, if I force myself to get good at it, I could get good at it. But I'm just not a Dota 2 kind of player. I'm a CS:GO kind of player, and that was always like my game that I liked right off the bat. That's what I grew up with. I started playing Gary's Mob, then I moved straight to CS:GO. And if you play, and if it just clicks in your head, you need to stick with that, right? And the two things that clicked in my head was crypto and ecom. Everything else, like finance, it did click a bit, but it was still really, really confusing to me. I know finance and crypto kind of like go hand in hand, so I should include finance, but like just like the banking, the corporate structure, dealing with people 24/7, I'm really not a social guy. And like the social class aspect that you see at these banks and just like having to deal with people who might, I don't know, be taller than you or might mog you and might like, reject you, then you need to like operate. I'm not good at operating with people in person. I knew that was like one of my biggest flaws, right? And like that eliminates a lot of like what you call it, rivers that I could row in, right? Because then I'm going to be at a huge disadvantage if I'm not able to talk to people. So most likely I need to choose something that's online. There's all these different business models, and then I was like, yo, like all these business models, like you're basically someone's bitch, right? Like if you're like have like a social media marketing agency, you always need to like pay attention to the client, and you always are basically loyal, like have to be loyal to the client because if the client doesn't like what you did, you're screwed. If you're doing like this Fiverr stuff or Upwork stuff, you're always somebody's bitch. And I always want it to be like, hey, I want to make sure I choose a business model where it's all me and I'm not run by anybody. And a lot of these business models, you're run by someone else. Now the thing with e-commerce, you are run by like Facebook if they ban you, right? But like there are ways where you could talk to people online who could just like unban you. Then you're also run by Shopify, but then you could there's like we're actually signing up for a new thing called Phoenix, which was able to that's like a separate thing. Like it's basically like a CRM that allows you to have payment processors that aren't dependent on Shopify. So basically, like what I'm saying is in e-com, you're no one's bitch if you're smart. And same with crypto, right? You might be like it's obviously player versus player, right? But it's all up to you. Like there's no one who has control over you. You don't have a boss. You don't have someone telling you what to do. And that was like my biggest weakness. And in banking or investment banking, you're always gonna have somebody above you. There's gonna be these guys who are freaking motivated on their computer taking freaking Adderall. I don't want to take Adderall. So it's like, yeah, and you also need to like wake up early, work like freaking 10 hours if you want to do investment banking or more a week, 80-hour work weeks. Friggin' no, that's not what I am, right? I'd much rather just be on my computer at my couch working really, really hard doing that and like making ads, right? So you need to choose the right model to row in. You need to choose the right river to row in. Yeah, and like once you're in that river, you'll find like the secret spots in the river where you catch the most fish, right? Like I don't know if that analogy is making sense. If you're a good hunter deep down, and yeah, I'm gonna give you a hint, but it's Black Hat MRR. You can look into that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Cool. So that's money. Once you have money, you could get all the friggin' looks maxing stuff that you want. I would say looks maxing is number two. Look, you gotta look good. You gotta look good. Then you'll get lean. Ride a true tide or just stay at home. Or no, so ride a true tide or like what I said earlier, like go to a fucking place where you don't have much food. You need a lot of protein. Just eat fucking a shit ton of protein. And like minimal carbs, minimal fat. Then obviously tan, melanotan one. Skincare, that's like the huge secret. Just get really, really, really clear skin. Um, yeah, not much you could look. Pray you have a good jaw, or good eye area. You could also like, get like filler and ship a filler's temporary. I wouldn't recommend like implants or double jaw surgery, but some people might need it. I don't know. It's like a rare case, but you probably aren't one of those people. Dye your eyebrows dark. Dye your eyelashes black. Longer hair. But make sure it's combed and groomed well. And then like stubble if your beard is shitty, if not clean shave. No stubble if your jawline is shitty, if not clean shave. And orthodontic work. Orthodontic could help a lot. Like a really good smile carries a lot. It's honestly really, really important now that I'm realizing it. There's this girl that I used to know, and she's like low key, like really, like she was like pretty unattractive. All she did was she fixed her teeth. Like she just got like orthodontic work, and her palate expanded a lot. She has now like a perfect teeth, perfect like white, straight, and it accentuates her looks a shit ton. And if she just puts like eyeliner on, she's like fucking she fucking mogs me, even though like craniofacially she literally doesn't. It's just like, or like genetically she doesn't, but it's like those things that were like she just spent money to fix her teeth, right? And then that changes her life completely, right? So I low key sound jealous of her. I'm not, but like it definitely makes you realize like, yo, I should get orthodontic where this could like be like life changing. Then orthodontics also changes your jaw a bit too if you're smart. Orthodontics is huge. Orthodontics is really, really huge. So yeah, look into that. And if you're past puberty, like palate expansion, I think is like harder, but like there's something called like an FME device, which could expand it, even past puberty. And there's also like, I think like Invisalign does expand your palate a little bit. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like super wide. It's just like you want like a perfect smile is really good to have. Yeah, obviously, and then like obviously like spending money on like good clothes, like Ralph Lauren, all this shit. It's gonna like elevate your status, gonna make you look good, high class, whatever. Um, yeah, so like start wearing clothes like that, start carrying yourself better, unironically, and don't talk too much. Like be really, really quiet in this whole journey. That's like, okay, how do I reframe this? Talk to people, but when you're talking to people, listen more than you speak, right? Because you need to talk to people in this world to actually like obviously do well in this life, because if you don't talk to people, you're going to be screwed. You're going to have no friends and you're going to fall back behind in the race. So you need to talk to people, but you need to always be smart with what you say, and you want to listen a lot more and only give like concrete like statements. Always pretend that someone's recording you when you're speaking with them, and be careful with what you say. Be smart with what you say. Um, few other stuff. What's the next two? Fame, right? I said that one. And what was the other? Relationships. Yeah, after these two, after you have money and looks, like chances are like girls are gonna be more interested in you. There's gonna be like a girl or two trying to, or more, trying to get into a relationship with you, because they realize that you're a pretty well-rounded guy. Bro, relationships might be a whole other video I can make a video about. But basically, like like if you're like me, like obviously like attraction matters a lot, right? Like I understand like the personality versus attraction kind of thing, and you want someone who really, really loves you. But the thing is, for me, like I want someone obviously who loves me, but I also prioritize like the appearance. And the only reason why I prioritize the appearance is not just like, oh, the person with like a better appearance is better. Like I really don't I actually don't care that much about like a person's appearance on I care a lot, but like I don't care if someone like looks like bad. Like I really just treat people pretty much the same way, unless they're like super gorgeous or whatever. But like it's about like your biology, right? And it's about like your kids. The more attractive partner that you get, and if they're like in your similar phenotype and you guys look somewhat similar, and it's like kind of like you guys are both like maybe Europeans, come from the same country, that's gonna weigh a lot more because your kids are probably going to look better. And if your kids look better, they're going to have a better life, and they're going to be able to climb they're gonna have social proof. And they're gonna be able to climb that social ladder, and they're gonna keep it's gonna keep your name strong. So your last name strong. So you always want to remember that. You don't want to like be this super white guy and then marry like I don't know someone who's not super attractive. Then your genetic line gets cooked. That sounds pretty bad. I'm just gonna say that's just like it's just the truth, and like women aren't gonna say this, but like that's what they're thinking as well. You want to wake up. You definitely want to wake up to someone every morning where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm happy. I'm waking up to this person to my like every when I move my head to the right every morning. This girl right next to me, I'm really glad to have her face look back at mine. I'm really happy to have her eyes look back at mine. That's really, really important. And that will come if you have like looks and money, right? And obviously, like the girl has to love you because if there's no true love, at one point, maybe she might fall out of love with you. Maybe, you know, it will be like, she loved me, now she doesn't, whatever. Like that could happen eventually, right? And like I don't recommend like getting legally married under the government. However, like there has to be love at one point. And if love falls out, that's unfortunate. But as long as there's love at one point, that's really, really important because when there's love on both sides, where when both parties have love, then the child will be born with love in his heart. I know it's like some spiritual shit. And then like he will always be guided in the correct direction because there was love on both sides at one point. And he'll always have this like heart. And if like his parents are really loving people, maybe they get separated, but at least one of the parents who really, really loves their child. That's going to be the most important thing, right? It's like these kids who are like their parents are like super, super rich and they have everything, but then the kids become fucking transgender and they start like, I don't know, they start going crazy. They need to go to like mental hospitals and they're like depressed and they have like suicide attempts or whatever. That happens when there's not love on both ends. And that happens when one of the parents doesn't show complete unconditional love to their child. And a lot of parents don't do this. They love their child, but they don't show it. They don't hug them. They don't kiss them. They just treat them not the same way. Then there's like a bunch of siblings and it's just like I'm like sticking way, way ahead. This is not like relationship advice. This is like spiritual, like how will you treat your child advice. Like relationships, be smart. The woman will show that she loves you, right? If you like have to like obsess over the girl and be like, oh my god, hi, hi, for her to like love you, like that's she doesn't love you deep down. When a girl loves you, she will not get enough of you, dude. She will keep texting you, keep texting you, keep texting you. Like she'll call you, she'll text you, she'll keep trying to be around you, she'll ask to hang out, she'll ask to hang out, she'll keep doing that over and over and over. That's how you know when a girl loves you. Once that falls out, which has happened to me, they showed less interest. They might still care about you and they might still love you, but it will never be the same way when it's like that love plus infatuation. That's how you know when they love you. If they love you, they will not stop showing it. You will know 100% if they do. Yeah, and if you don't know, they might have feelings for you, but it's not as strong as it would be for someone else potentially, which is probably a byproduct of your looks plus like personality. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and keep the one who loves you the most and obviously probably looks the best. And yeah, and like judge her by her friends. Her five closest friends will be who she is for the most part. So yeah. And last one, influence. This one I don't really know too much yet because I have like low key like not much social status in my life. And I know I post on YouTube, but like don't really get much views. I think the videos are low key good, but like, I just like haven't like cracked the code yet. Like I just like probably need to include some edits, probably need to like use some copywriting principles, like to have a good hook in the beginning of the video and like showcase like probably looks max low key and all this shit. So just gotta lock in. If I have like but here's the thing, like if I look really, really good, right? If I look really, really good on the camera and everything is like maxed out, right? And then I have like a fuck ton of like bread. I could just teach you like how I made that bread, and I could like give you like like exact details of like, yo, this is how I made my money. This is how you could do it as well. Like that's gonna obviously get views, right? And like the things that will guarantee you to get influence, is like if you have money and you could actually teach people like tangibly, because everybody's trying to make money. Like everybody will click like how do I like everybody is interested in like how do I actually make money, like no BS, not just like the start a fucking e-blog or some shit or like start doing like social media marketing into the Iman Godzi like retarded shit. Like you want to like give like tangible, like detailed stuff. Everybody's gonna watch it. And then also like if you really look really really good at like people are gonna actually like click on your thumbnails and stuff because they like looking at like good looking people. And then who knows if you have a really good relationship, and people can see like you have a hot ass girlfriend, like people are gonna just like also listen to you because they want to be like you, right? You want to be like a role model, and the way that you gain that influence is like people need to want to be like you. They want to have your looks. They want to have your personality. They want to live your life. That's really how you get famous. No, that's not necessarily like 100% true. Like there's a few people that I know who like started YouTube and they really do live like really good lives, but like they don't really get that many views. I think that's like another thing is just like being an interesting person. Unironically, like you need to have like different kind of thoughts in your brain. You can't just be like a normie, even if like you look good and even if you have like a good life. Like if you're just like talking about boring shit and like there's nothing interesting about you, like people aren't gonna really care. Um, and for influence, like once you have money, like you could just like hire people to start, you know, if you want to start streaming on Kick, I mean, like look at what Clavicular did. Like he just like hired a bunch of people, spent a bunch of money for his like edits to like go all over TikTok or, you know, like his like Kick stuff to like be posted on Instagram. So like there's like clip farming, and yeah, that was like huge. So you could 100% do that too. That's like the same like Andrew Tate method. They were like he like fucking blew up just from like the clip farming. They literally did the exact same shit pretty much. It was like the same thing. So you could easily buy that if you really want. Now you need to be careful like what you're putting out there because you could if you get really really big, you probably don't need to worry about this, but like if you really end up becoming really big or something, then you have to be careful like what you put back. Like if you made like any bad mistakes when you were younger, like it could come back to haunt you low key. I gotta be careful, but yeah, I mean that's like a huge way to do it. There's also a bunch of ways to do it. Like if you start like befriending people who are like famous, or like I don't know, like if you have money, like go to better parties and you might meet like a famous person. And once you meet that famous person, you meet their friend, and then boom, 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 boom. Maybe you get into acting. Maybe you learn a bit about that. It's like anything. Like if you want it bad enough, you're gonna find the loopholes. And that's like how I want to end this video. If you want something bad enough, you really will get it. I'm not even kidding. Now, obviously, like not like if you want to go to fucking Jupiter, it's gonna be hard, right? But if it's reasonable, like hey, I want to make $1 million by 25, 100% you could do that. 100%, not even like a doubt now in my brain. But like the average person who says that, they'll be like, like they don't know. And the reason why they don't know is because they don't. It's not that they don't believe it deep inside. They just don't have the knowledge necessary for them to even realize, hey, $1 million by 25 isn't even that crazy. But like literally a year ago, if I heard that, I'd be like, it's definitely a fucking lot of money. But it's like it's just because you don't know. And the reason why you don't know is because you don't want it bad enough. And you might say, oh, I want it pretty bad, but you haven't like fucking struggled like down on your bed, seeing your friends surpass you in every metric, and you don't realize why you want this money. Like, hey, I just want $1 million, but like $1 million, you know, like I could live with like 100K, but like the reason why I want $1 million is that so I could escape my family, so I could help my family, so that they could escape, so that I don't have to deal with these rich people treating me like shit anymore, so that I could prove all these people wrong, so that my best friend's mom doesn't disrespect me and my mom ever again, because we live in a worse place, right? Or like so that I could finally mog them and like be in a better house than them, and then they always remember that because I'm Victor Paris, dude, and I always fucking catch up. It's just in my DNA. Like the DNA's inside it. It's from my mom and my dad, and they combined, and fucking this made me, and I don't quit. And like it's just like shit like that. It's not just that. Like it's other shit like being treated like shit. I wanted to have a higher social class so I could finally get the beautiful woman that they at the end of the day, like it's all conditional. Like they might like you, they might think you look good, but like it's gonna be like your social class and like the manners that you learned. And if you don't have a father and all this shit, and you know, if you grew up like kind of just like crazy free spirited, you're gonna like lack these things unconsciously that you don't even know that you lack. And it's gonna make them like lose attraction and shit. And if I have enough leverage, if I have enough money, they're gonna stay with me. And that's just the fact. So, yeah. Yeah, man. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it. That's all my advice. Hope this video was pretty good. I think it was good. Just a bit all over the place, but yeah. Peace.